Boom! What's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is 7:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Fashionably late.
April 3rd, 2024.
You had
Is
to think
it?
about that.
No, I was thinking, is it Eastern Time or Eastern Standard Time? I think there's
Eastern Standard Time.
I think there's a difference, though, isn't
No,
there? I
no.
think there is.
Well, there's not.
I think something about in the spring and summer, it's one thing, and then in fall and winter, it's you say it another way. So
I think you're dumb.
I think if you just say Eastern, you're good. Like 7 p.m. Eastern, and then
I
you're
think you're
good.
dumb.
But either way, someone will let us know. We're back to normal for this particular thing that we do here on the channel. Last month we were pre-recorded because I think we had a second live stream coming pretty close, and we didn't want to be live that frequent. So we try to make these, we try to make these, live shows as special as they can be. So if you're live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's like, come on, what are you doing? Yeah. So we did that pre-recorded, but we're back because we don't really have anything scheduled. There might be a video that drops. You never know about the videos, but the live shows, we don't really have anything planned until later on in the month. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on, coming up here in just a couple weeks. But tonight we're talking everything we watched in the beautiful month of March. Do we love March?
I feel like this was a pretty light month for us.
It was. We went a little easy on the viewing.
But we still made the most of our AMC Stubs A-list.
We did. And
got our month's worth.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to not take your foot off the brake. You just have to kind of ease your foot off the pedal to the metal kind of thing. So that's what we did in the month of March. April is probably going to either be similar to that, or we'll push it down just ever so gently.
Yeah, bonus points to Tony Basement Blues, who does a movie a day.
God, I genuinely have no clue how anyone does that, because like I've said before here on the channel, I would just get sick of movies.
Which is crazy to think about.
I would. Like,
he's been doing it for years.
Too much of anything is bad. Too much of Coca-Cola spiced is bad. There's 25 grams of sugar in this little can right now. So, but has anyone tried Coca-Cola spiced? It's pretty good. It's like the commercial,
Cringe.
I just had to zoom in on my mouth. But yeah, it's pretty good.
I have a Monster Reserve Orange Dreamsicle.
Orange Dreamsicle. This thing really tastes like an orange dreamsicle.
That's really good.
So, but yeah, it was a light month, but we did pack in some new releases. We packed in some oldies. So we're going to talk all about that. And then
I feel like we're going to have a lot of hot takes.
Yeah, there's going to be some controversial things. That's why I put one of them on the thumbnail there. Quiet on set.
I'd argue. So, well, to a lesser degree, Pray for the Devil, or Light Out with the Devil. Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll talk about all that stuff. Let's just see who's already joining us here tonight, and then we'll get this thing rocking. Our main guy, Laren, he actually messaged me privately on my phone. He was like, "Hey, I won't be able to watch tonight. I got a meeting at work. Sucks." I said, "Dude, no worries." But
that's what the pre-recording's for.
Let's talk movies. Exactly. That's what the replay's for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So he might catch the tail end of this depending on how long we go. So, but anyways, Laren, thanks for writing something.
Woo.
Also, Adrian, hello there, fans of something. Let's talk movies, shall we? Everyone wants to talk movies, and that's what we're going to do. Wilkie, hello, Wilkie. Although I think your real name's Corey, right? Your real name's Corey. What's going on? And we got rock music, Oscar. Hello, Oscar. So that's everyone who's joining us right now. As people come on in, say hi to them as well. Talk movies. If you want to join what we're talking about, feel free to do so. We're gonna make sure everything is good to go here. Yep, looks good. All right, and we are gonna make ourselves very tiny. We're gonna bring in the Letterboxed account. So if you want to follow us over on Letterboxed, both our accounts are linked down below. You can follow us over there. But this
For
is
my raving reviews.
yes, for her raving reviews. Maybe this year she'll become a patron on Letterboxd,
Yeah,
where she can
right.
get this really cool background option. And I mean, look at that! Look how beautiful Arnold's face is.
Right.
Look at that!
Ah.
I want to make out with his face.
Right. Okay.
Don't you?
I'm already paying for AMC Stubs A-list.
Yeah, I am too. This is the patron option is a one-time fee for 1 year. That's it, $50 a year. So
AMC Stubs A-list. See up to 3 movies every week.
all right. So kicking things off, we started the month with The Apartment.
Oh, that feels so long ago.
Yeah, right. But we did this. We were trying to do so. These first couple of movies, we were trying to do Best Picture winners leading
Mhm.
up to the Oscars. That was the whole kind of game plan. Was if we watched a movie at the house, theaters, not the same, because we always see new releases. But if we're watching a movie at the house, we watched a Best Picture winner. I think we only did 2, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. The Apartment won Best Picture for the year 1960.
Well, see, the problem with that was they're just so long. All the Best Picture winners are so long.
They really are. They have a niche when it comes to Best Picture winners and being long.
So it's like we were trying to do it, but with work and you want to come home and relax with a movie, you don't necessarily want to spend 3 hours invested in a movie after you've worked
Right.
all day.
Which I think is why we ended up on The Apartment, because it's a very light,
Yeah.
kind of goofy movie, which those don't really win too often on the Best Pictures. So we're like, why not? Great movie. This is the guy who did what? Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
Billy Wilder. And this is like I didn't know much about this movie, but once you start to figure out what it is, it's actually very kind of whoa. You like, wow, you're making a movie about that in the 60s. Wow. It's about this guy renting out his apartment so that higher executives at his company can go there and cheat on their wives. And it's like, dude, what are like that? Like, as I was watching the movie, I was thinking that would be like us right now renting out our place for people who want to cheat on their spouses.
Yeah. This was before Airbnb, people. Like
what? So it's funny. Obviously, the whole thing is he falls for one of the people that his boss is cheating with. Yeah. So the boss loves her, he loves her, and then that's the whole kind of thing.
Billy Wilder, he's like he's good for really walking that fine line. Like, cause Some Like It Hot's pretty like, whoa, for the time that it was made. So I really like him.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
and I want to see more of his stuff. I want to see Some Like It Hot and whatever else he's done that's like really prolific. But The Apartment's really good. I know that this is I think this is on Arrow Video. I think that's what I went with that poster. I like that one. But yeah, I mean, this really is as I start my review here saying it's the epitome of nice guys finish last in major motion picture form. This guy just cannot catch a
He
break.
can't win.
You really can't. And it's hysterical. So definitely check out The Apartment if you want a good laugh, but you also want to be like, I watched a Best Picture winner, because you'll get both. You don't typically get that. With our next movie that we watched here, you don't get that with this movie very often. It is called No Country for Old Men. And I'll start it off right now. You can see I gave it 2 stars. I truly, it's just some movies you just don't gel with, right? You understand why people like them. I understand why people like this movie. I don't get how it won Best Picture, but I understand why people like the movie. It just wasn't for me. I don't know.
No, I agree. Like you said, I also could understand why people would like this movie. Like, there's deeper meaning, there's layers to this movie. Much like ogres, this movie has layers. But yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't captivated enough. I wasn't like I'm kind of struggling right now to remember what it was about.
Well, it's just the guy, Javier Bardem.
I know.
He's killing people in the town, and the sheriff's looking for him. Josh Brolin's looking for him. That's basically it. It's just a outlaw kind of thing, on the run from the police kind of thing. And
I don't know.
It's based on a book, which
Yeah.
you did some research and said that people said that you should also read the book
Yeah,
to really appreciate this.
I remember that.
And
And you can't read.
I'm not into that. Although right now I am reading the novelization of the Terminator, so
Crazy.
that's fun.
And it has no pictures, guys. No pictures.
Yeah. So, but happy I watched it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I just think I'm not a Coen Brothers fan because I'm not a big fan of The Big Lebowski, which I have seen. I think I started Fargo and I never finished it because I wasn't in. I just don't think I'm into their stuff. I just whatever they did. Maybe the best thing they've done, and it's not even them. It's just Ethan, I think, or Joel, one of them, Ethan, I think, who did Drive Away Dolls.
Was that this month?
I think it was last month, February.
Oh.
We saw Drive Away Dolls. That's maybe my favorite if I had to pick something from the Coens, but yeah, not for me.
No.
But I get why it won Best Picture. Now this one is for me because it is Alien. Yes, rewatched it. I have seen this before, but it was showing at one of the theaters we go to in downtown Savannah. So
associate with my school.
Yes, and had to check it out because it leads into a James Cameron movie. So I want to have the familiarity with it, and because we right now we're waiting for Aliens to be on the big screen for her first time to see it.
Yeah.
But this was a first time, no, not a first time, but it almost was, right? It was similar to your experience with Jaws.
Yeah. This
Kinda
one
thing.
had a bad taste left in my mouth just because of the circumstances that I watched it in years ago. So I was like, boring, don't care, not interested.
It is slow.
It is
It's
slow.
a very slow movie.
But we call it the Jaws effect now when we happen to rewatch a movie, particularly in like a large screen format that ultimately changes your view or your opinion of the movie.
Yep.
Like for the better. And this one definitely had that Jaws effect. Like
I knew you would like it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Especially because it has Kibby.
Has a kitty in space.
Kitty in space. Kitty in space.
If you've never seen this with a full theater, that most of the people haven't seen it, I recommend it because a lot of the people were reacting to certain moments, jump scares, the chest burster scene. People were squirming in their seat, and that's always been my favorite thing of this movie. The chest bursting is great. I love when we get the reveal of what actually happened to, I forget the character's name, but the guy that gets the thing on his face, the face hugger. That image of the face hugger, and then when it they go to touch it and the camera zooms in on it tightening around his neck, and you can imagine what it looks like, that there's a thing going down his throat kind of thing, putting the egg inside him. It's so but then once the alien's out and it's on the ship, it is goofy from time to time.
It's a little worm guy.
Because sometimes it's like a dude in a suit kind of thing moving around.
Sometimes it's a puppet.
Yeah. So the biggest laugh is always at the end. Spoilers. When the
1979.
When the aliens caught tailing the ship or the explosion, and it's bouncing around, and everyone in the theater is laughing because it's just a killer alien, but it looks so helpless, just bouncing around in the back.
Killed the whole crew, but this guy's just bonk, bonk.
Yep. Obviously, this was I think she had done stuff before Sigourney. This was the breakout thing for her. And yeah, I'm just really, really pumped for Aliens because that's
that one I've not seen.
I do think that's my favorite of them, and I'm disassociating from Cameron, but just I think it is sort of it gets the pace better.
Well, I think that's the general consensus.
That Aliens is better. Yeah. It's sort of the T2, right? So, but yeah, Aliens, great. This could be my favorite Ridley Scott movie, although I am very fond of Thelma and Louise. So
no 2001 Monkey?
I was gonna say that's Kubrick.
Oh.
That's Kubrick.
I always think
that's Ridley Scott. No, that's Cube. But he did go on Scott. He came back to the Alien franchise for Prometheus, which is a prequel to Alien, and Alien Covenant, which I think takes place somewhere after Alien, and yeah, the whole timeline. And now this year we're getting Alien Romulus.
Ridley did Gladiator.
Yes. The Martian.
Yeah, I think
I like
that's
those
why
films.
I think that's why I think he did 2001.
Hmm.
It's because Alien and
And The
Martian.
Martian. Yeah. So I mean, he is pretty prolific in space. He did Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're getting a new Alien movie this year, so we might have to. I've never seen Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection, so those are sort of the
I was gonna
kind of
say
going
I don't
down.
think you're missing much.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jonesy.
Shout out to Jonesy. Check out Alien if you have somehow missed it. Um, Next up, we went to the theater the first month, the first new release going to the theater of March for the Blumhouse hit Imaginary.
Can I start throwing tomatoes now?
Imaginary?
Tomato. Okay. Can I speak?
Yeah.
Let me speak. Because god damn it, I wanted to like this movie so bad. I wanted cuz between this and that If movie that's coming out, they both sort of take two different ends of the same spectrum. Like the whole imaginary friend thing. The If is supposed to be like really goofy, really funny. This one was supposed to be like really scary, but both surrounding imaginary friends. And I really like the little girl actor. I thought she's definitely going places the way her acting is. But and I like the idea of Chauncey. Come on, it's just my guy. That's Chauncey. How can you hate somebody named Chauncey? That's it. That's as far as my praise goes. Because everything else around this movie sucks. Like, I know Blumhouse is not known for shelling out money for their movies. The whole less is more thing, but ew, does it show? Ew. Just all the other actors are terrible. The whole like main gimmick of them being in that sort of fun house, terrible. I mean, like that reeked of like something done in like 2003 could have been better.
Right.
Just ew. This movie was ew.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of burned by Blumhouse for the killer doll thing because they love doing that. They did it with Megan, wasn't a fan of Megan. Did it with Imaginary, wasn't a fan of Imaginary. So I'm kind of burned on their let's take the doll that comes to life and run with it thing. I'm not a fan of it. I only really like the first Child's Play, and that's basically it when it comes to Chucky. So it's just not really my thing. I don't find the stuff creepy. I don't find it scary, you know?
Well, it's like this movie, it was bordering on being camp, like so camp that it's good.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm kind of on board with it. It has that cheese factor, but I think like with that old lady and then the fake out ending, spoilers, but who cares? Because this movie's ew. It once you got to the third act, I was like, this isn't camp. This is just cheap, lazy, and disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so bad that it's ew.
Like, what did I say here? This is a prime example of quantity over quality when it comes to Blumhouse. Yep, exactly. Unoriginal, unsatisfying, boring, stupid beyond belief. Yeah, it is. It is.
God, I wanted to like it.
Yeah, I did too. So I am looking forward to If from John Krasinski, because that does have the potential to be better than this at least, because it is going for the comedy route. So, and I think that that works better. So maybe this will be turned into a house this year at HHN, which
I
if it
hope
is,
not.
yeah,
It can't be because they have to do FNAF. And I know somebody made the argument of like, well, that whole funhouse thing is perfect for a haunted house or whatever. Don't
yeah,
give me FNAF.
yep. So after that,
Mm.
barely a movie, but we I don't know why, like I don't know how it came back onto my radar. But this is Homeless in America. This is from Tommy Wiseau, the writer, director, producer, creator.
Well, because I think it was right around here you said that Big Shark was coming to Atlanta.
Maybe. something involving Tommy came back to me, and I was like, wait, hold on, didn't he do a documentary? This is what he followed up The Room, the phenomenal The Room, with Homeless in America. I mean, look, just like
Just
look
look
at that
at-
poster.
Just
Like,
look at it.
that's a poster right there. Yep, that's a blue tarp that someone's using as a roof. And he took that photo and he was like, "That's my poster."
Well, he does have an artistic eye.
Now, I was thinking this was going to be Tommy interviewing homeless people, which I would think is kind of, gold when it comes to movies. It's not.
Tommy.
Tommy's like in maybe one or two shots in the whole thing. And it's some other guy who sounds like Tommy interviewing the homeless people. So on top of it just not having Tommy in it, which is already a ding, it does have interviews with, like, at the time, the 2004 time, it has interviews with people that were in charge of the city of Los Angeles at the time, right? So they talk to higher ups about, what are you doing about homelessness? Ultimately, though, this is just talking to homeless people. It's just talking to homeless people, which can be interesting, but a lot of these homeless people aren't interesting.
No. And there's really no true call to action.
No, it's just I want to film me talking to homeless people and make a movie out of it.
And it's just people, like homeless people and officials alike just saying, yeah, homeless is bad.
Homeless is bad. It's going to get worse.
And then you look 20 years in the future now, and it is worse. Nothing's been done.
Yep. So if you do want to watch this, if you have to watch it, I don't necessarily recommend it. But if you're a Tommy Wiseau completionist, it says not streaming anywhere. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
So just look up Homeless in America. It's on YouTube.
It's only like a half hour.
It's very short, but yeah, it's just so weird. But this just fits for Tommy. It just like, why would this be your follow up to your movie? Like, but it makes sense for him, Yeah, like it really does. So. Yeah, can't say anything else other than that, but we checked it out.
We certainly did.
So one less thing to check out in the Tommy Wiseau canon.
Next
up, I watched this. You did not. You were at work. This is like if you were to try to truly figure out what's the very first thing James Cameron ever officially directed, it is this thing right here called Xenogenesis. Again, this is like 12 minutes long. And it's not streaming anywhere, but you can look up on YouTube Xenogenesis and you can watch it. This is the very first thing Cameron ever officially directed, and he co-directed it with Randall Frakes, who I have had on my Eddie Green's 101 podcast, and who I just recently found out passed away. So that's super sad. But he and Cameron co-directed, and this is like a super bare kind of just super.
It's super.
What's funny about that is that's a T2 3D thing. One of the characters says super. But
Super.
like there's barely a story here. It's basically just a robot attacking a man and a woman and they fight and that's it. But for the time, for the budget, for the inexperience, and for all the Easter eggs, for like just certain looks and designs of the machines and everything. Like once you see the machine roll in, you're like, oh my God, that's essentially the original hunter killer from the Terminator. Like it has the same kind of, the things that crush the skulls in the Terminator. It has that same look. It has a strong female protagonist, which is obviously something Cameron carried through with Sarah and Ellen Ripley and Rose and Titanic, Neytiri and Avatar. So all of like his staples are in this little short. So even though the short isn't necessarily great, it's so cool to just see the beginnings of somebody who would become, in my opinion, the greatest, but one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Yeah, it's nice to almost like humble some of like your idols to realize that, they had to start somewhere too.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, $20,000 raised from a group of dentists looking for a tax write-off allowed Cameron to begin the journey. So this movie only had $20,000 to its budget, which back in '78 might have been a lot, but it's so minuscule. But you watch it, and it's just still incredible. Even if I had that budget, I couldn't make something as good as this, and it's not good, but they're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way I could even make something like this. So
You know, objectively, it isn't good, but
yeah,
you have a stronger appreciation for it because you know the mind that did that, what he would go on to do.
yeah, yeah. And I right here, Cameron has remained true to himself, and I'm here for it. Like he's always had the same things through his other films, which I think is so cool. So I highly recommend this if you're a Cameron fan. You might have to be as diehard as me, but definitely check out Xenogenesis because this is before Piranha 2. This is
Right.
yeah, this is a few years before Piranha 2. So yeah, it's very interesting to watch. It sucks though because there isn't a like on YouTube, there's not a good copy of it. It's all very staticky, very low quality, and every copy has like a time thing going at the bottom, which I don't understand why. And I like if I were to talk to Cameron, right? I mean, I would want to talk about the obvious stuff, but I would want to talk about like Xenogenesis. I would want to, no one asks him about this stuff, And I don't know if it's because he says don't ask me about that stuff. Maybe he's not proud of it, but you have to be, you have to include it all, right? This is part of his legacy. So I would love for this to get some form of a like a restoration update. I think that would be really cool.
4K.
Yeah. So check it out. It's on YouTube for free. Yeah, it's really cool. Arthur the King, we watch next
Arthur,
with
look at him.
Marky Mark, who actually we found out he adopted this dog for real.
No, he wanted to.
Oh, he never did?
Well, he tried. Well, because the dog is himself, he's like a trained, like professional, actor dog.
Uh-huh.
And apparently they bonded so much on set that Marky Mark was like, "How much for him? I need him now."
Uh-huh.
And his trainer was like, "He's not for sale."
Oh.
Look at him. He's just a gooby wooby.
Yeah. So this one is a good movie. It's good. So it's a good one-time watch.
I only liked it for
the dog.
the dog.
Yeah, it's
like I literally don't care about Mark.
it's a fine movie. It's based on a real story. It's inspirational. There's a phenomenal scene, very intense, reminiscent of like the movie Fall with the tower, where someone is stuck in the middle of a zip line overlooking like a giant, like foresty looking canyon, and Mark Wahlberg has to save them. And so that was very intense. And the dog is cool. And what we found out, you looked up because usually there's multiple dogs on set.
Yeah, it's just
this one.
Just this one.
Which I don't even know that that's legal. I thought you have to have at least two so you can swap them out.
I don't know. He's a professional.
So,
but yeah, all the dialogue in this movie does not feel real. Like real humans don't talk like this. Like there's one scene in particular that stands out where it's like they're all in a group huddle about to start the race, and it's like, all right, guys, Mark's like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna be strong, and we're gonna beat those guys. And then the girl character, she's like,
my dad has cancer. Literally, yeah, she just says that. And everyone in that group reacts the way we react. They're like,
but it's just,
and then just cut to Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer. Information that would have been useful to me yesterday.
Yeah, just the whole movie's like written, like it feels like it's written by AI, and it's just like inspirational movie dialogue generator, and that's all it is.
Thank you for saying AI because it has nothing to do with the movie. But as I was putting this stream on our channel, messing with the settings and everything, there's a new setting on YouTube where you have to tell YouTube if your content is altered, which means it's presented to look real when it's not. It's basically, is your content AI? You have to answer yes or no.
Well, there's also a setting that you showed me, I think last night, where StreamYard has that option to make your thumbnail.
Yeah, like when you go on StreamYard now, if you don't want to make your thumbnail, you can just use AI to make your thumbnail.
We'll get into this in a minute.
Let it be known, all our thumbnails and everything we're doing right now, Haley and I, we're real. We are not artificially created. Okay, so let it be known.
Unless
And
we're all in the Matrix and we're all in the goo.
we all will stay that way for the remainder of however long we can until our hand is forced to become AI.
Even then.
So just always keep that in the back of your head when you're watching fans of something. We are not fans of AI.
Not really. No.
So,
but yeah.
anyways, this movie's fine. Watch it if you like dogs. Yeah.
I like what the dog doing.
Like I wrote here, who did it better, Owen Wilson or Mark Wahlberg? You be the judge.
Yeah. I like Arthur. That's why I like the movie.
We'll cover this last movie and then we'll hop back over to the comments, see who's joined.
Uh-oh.
But first up, like this month was a bunch of like controversial movies, I guess you could say. This is Twilight Zone, the movie. This is a rewatch for me. This is a first time watch for Haley. I enjoy this movie a bunch when I was growing up, and pretty sure my dad showed it to me because he introduced me to the original Twilight Zone. So it would have made sense that he carried over to the movie. So I've always had a fondness for this movie, and rewatching it now, almost 32 years old, it still holds up as a really good anthology film.
Yeah, I like it because anthology films, like I'll use Creepshow because that's probably my favorite. Not saying that I don't like any of the films presented in that movie, but their strength varies. So like if there's like 4 films, I could feel like I like the first one the best, the second one's maybe third, like it bounces. But this one I feel just is set to where they just progressively get better. And that just makes for a better viewing experience for me, ultimately.
Although some people think that the weakest segment in this movie is the one Spielberg did called Kick the Can.
Yeah, but
that's usually when you ask people, what's the one in the movie you don't really jive with? Most people answer Kick the Can. Because it is sort of a departure.
Yeah.
It's lighthearted. It's not really Twilight Zone-y.
No, but I still didn't hate it.
But like when you watch these, you really do see each director in the thing that they're doing.
Oh, for sure.
You really do, and so the controversy, in case you don't know about it, the controversy on this movie is Vic Morrow, who is an actor in the very first segment that you see, and 2 illegally hired child actors. They all died on set from a helicopter accident.
Yeah.
Which
gruesome helicopter,
which is on film. You can watch it. You can see it happen in real time. Well, not real. Yeah, real time. It is crazy.
It's not graphic.
It's not graphic
because you don't really see anything.
It's just sort of like the helicopter falls on them and that's it. They get crushed, right? But it's
gruesome when you know what happened.
When you know what happened to them, and gruesome knowing that it was all shady shit going on anyway. They probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. Definitely the kid actors, but even Vic Morrow, kind of like you look at the setup of it, like it all. It's on a sound stage. There's a real helicopter. It's like, the hell is going on here?
Like, you don't see any blood or guts or anything, but it's like after you see that, and then like Vic Morrow was literally decapitated.
And one of the kids.
It's
sad. Yeah, it's really sad. So me and Haley and I watching this movie, we both like this movie, doesn't mean we had condone John Landis and his team. I am still a fan of John Landis. He's made some really good stuff. He made American Werewolf in London. He gave me Thriller from Michael Jackson, the music video. So he gave so they had to work around the footage they had of Vic Morrow for the first segment, and I think it works ultimately. I think it really, like, whatever they did, however they tooled it to make sense, it works.
Because I think the original intent was like him.
He was going to save the kid act. Yeah,
he was having a change of heart. But I think like ultimately, like the Twilight Zone is very like, how do you say, like
bleak.
It's
kind of bleak.
So to have that sort of like revelation wouldn't have made sense for the movie. And I'm not saying like, it all worked out for the better. It's like,
well, and you have the Spielberg segment that's very light, so that's already something included in the film. So this one is ambiguous. It's it's kind of dark. It is my favorite of the 4 segments. I love that first segment.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Him being the bigot he is, and then all of a sudden he's being hunted by the Nazis. He's being hung by the KK. It's like Jesus. Like this is heavy stuff, man. For a movie about the Twilight Zone, like that's very thematic.
Over John Lithgow?
Yeah, because the original with Shatner is so much better. Is so much better. Just the look of the creature. I get this one is more demony, monstrous looking, but I can't get my nostalgia past like the bear thing in the original Shatner. And Shatner is just so much better than John Lithgow is, I think, at playing the character. I just like the more subdued. This is just like Dutch angles and like Jesus. Why would you even let this guy on the plane in the first place? You know? That story has been told at least three times in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It's the Shatner, the original Shatner. It's
Jordan Peele do it.
It's this one in the movie, and then they updated it for the Jordan Peele. But it wasn't a like a gremlin on the wing. It was a killer podcast. So the guy sits down in the seat and he sees in front of him, he sees a podcast, like a little like iPod kind of thing. He picks it up, puts it in his ears, and as he's listening to it, it's telling him it's like a true crime podcast about the disappearance of the plane that he's on.
Oh.
So it's like a cool kind of reworking for modern. It's actually a really good update. It's I think the best episode of that Jordan Peele Twilight Zone. But yeah, and then what's the third one? The third one I really like too, the Joe Dante one with the kid who has like he like brings the woman over who hits him. On the bike.
Yes.
And it's like a twisted cartoon world.
Yeah. And that was kind of freaky because it's like almost like before Fairly Odd Parents,
right?
Where this kid could just wish for anything and it'd happen.
Yep.
And then you realize that like this kid is like trapping people. You don't even know where his real family is.
Yeah.
Like to sort of like make this life for himself. Oh, yeah, I thought that was great.
It's great. Yep. And the kick the can one is good because it all plays into that feeling of that at one point or another we all have in our life of, man, I wish I could be young again. You know, like that longing to be. And I think that it's like a setting for a movie. I think it's called Cocoon from Ron Howard. I think it's a similar thing with old people becoming young again. Yeah. I think that's a movie called Cocoon.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's like, should they have just, ixnayed the Landis segment and maybe put something else in there? Sure, I don't know, but I wasn't even a thought. Like, my mother was 3 years old when this movie came out, so, I'm just watching it for how it is, straight up.
Yeah.
And that's that. I mean...
And it is a good movie.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, so, like, everybody review bombing it in the letterboxed reviews.
They really are.
Like...
They really are. I mean, that's what letterboxed is. It's like people that feel like, like if there's any bit of controversy on any movie, that's half the reviews on letterboxed is, I can't watch this because of the controversy.
I think it's important. Like, how I view a lot of things when it comes to media and movie viewing is... it's important to know the history and not to ignore it because, that phrase, those who choose to ignore history are doomed to repeat it. So I think it's important for us to be aware of the circumstances, and to keep that in the back of my mind. But if I'm making a review toward it, I'm going to judge at face value.
Right.
Like, so the 4 stars is a face value, and I'm not going to review bomb it because of something. And like that, yeah.
I agree. So there we go. We'll pause right there. We'll hop back over to the comments, see what you guys are saying, and then we'll continue on here. We got Tracy joining us. Hello, Tracy. Excited to hear your thoughts on these. Thank you for being excited. We're excited. Love The Apartment. It's a phenomenal movie. Definitely need to get that in the physical media collection. Holland Oates.
Hello.
Did you see the trailer for the new Alien film? Looks dope. Haven't seen anything on the new Alien.
Just know that it exists.
I know it's coming out. Kind of want to keep it that way because I will go see it. So I don't really need to see anything. They don't have to sell me. I'll check it out. So
We're there, babe.
we're there. Dell, what's up? What's up,
What do you
Dell?
do?
I am so curious why this movie sucks.
Imaginary?
Imaginary? Dang it. This is the bad part about when you hop away from the comment section and come back. You don't know what you're talking about. If you're still with us, Tracy, what were you talking about on this comment? I am so curious why this movie sucks. Let me know. Gavin, our son, came out of his room to watch. Came out of his room to watch us.
We just have him walked away in a room only to be let out when we stream.
Blumhouse makes lots of terrible movies, but they make a lot of good movies too. You know,
The Black
I think when we left the theater, right, we were asking, I was like, what's the last truly great Blumhouse movie? And I think we agreed it's The Black Phone. Although I enjoyed Halloween Ends. So I don't know. It's a shame because if the script is good, the budget wouldn't matter. This is what they should be focusing on.
Yeah.
So I think she was talking about Imaginary.
Yeah. Man, the script is just awful.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many movies where it's just like people don't talk like this.
Yeah.
Real humans do not converse this way.
Well, that's the bad part, and that's why I wrote it in my review that Blumhouse now is quite literally more quantity over quality. You know, and that's unfortunate because they want to pump out all this stuff, and when you do that, you are sacrificing something. Something is being sacrificed. So apparently, to most people, that seems to be that it was like maybe a rushed script. You know, maybe a
rushed everything.
Rushed that. You know, yeah. So
Gavin says it best.
I'm over Blumhouse. I'm not over Blumhouse, but I've never been like super under Blumhouse. You know what I mean? Like I've always just been, oh cool, it's another Blumhouse movie. Let's go see what it's like. More often than not, you do leave kind of disappointed.
Yeah, because it's like they have these great concepts, and then it's like their execution is just like wah, wah, wah,
yeah.
Wow.
And I love watching. I don't know if anyone else gets this vibe, but I love watching when Jason Blum is being interviewed about his latest film that's come out because he always looks like
he doesn't know.
Well, one that he like, but like that he's bored, that he doesn't care. Like I just get that vibe from him, which is funny to me. Like I don't know, like that's the vibe I get from him. Like, oh god, here I go. I have to go do interviews for Imaginary.
Another movie.
Okay. I do think he was very hyped for the Halloween stuff. I think he was very hyped for that. But yeah, like Imaginary, Night Swim, I don't think he was hyped for.
I don't think he knows half the movies that he produces. He's like, all right, here's my money.
Yeah. Oh my god, he did another movie?
Tommy Wiseau.
I now expect the Blumhouse film to be crap and get pleasantly surprised if it's not. Keep your expectations low. Yep. Yeah, she's talking about Tommy. Nothing he does makes sense. Yeah, this was a bizarre choice to follow up your movie with a documentary, 30 minutes of homeless people.
You know?
Wait, no endless sex scenes in a Wiseau movie? Disappointing. Yep, no homeless people banging. Nope.
To much of our dismay.
Yep. Although I'm sure it upset some people who that's their kink.
I'm sure.
Let's see here. Next, you'll tell me the first Cameron movie didn't have blue people. Well, Titanic didn't have blue people until the very end when they got blue.
Well, there was still blue,
right? Look, I don't know. Check out Xenogenesis. It's probably better than Piranha.
Probably.
I haven't seen Piranha yet. Hello, Bonnie.
Hello, Mama.
Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Only someone AI generated would have to tell us that they're not. I'm watching closely. Yes, you can trust us. You can trust us.
Only somebody who was AI would say that they were an AI generated.
Here's what I saw. Dark Falls, never seen it. Diced, never seen it. A Terrifier 2 ripoff, okay. Antiviral.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Sweet 16, The Initiation, those two slasher movies sucked. I haven't seen anything you just listed there.
Yeah, Dice. I feel like somebody just watched that I'm following. Either it was Gavin or Nadia. They just put like half a star for it.
Mm. Cody, don't forget to roundhouse kick that for FOS. Appreciate it, dude. Saw 3 foreign films: Raging Phoenix, Goodnight Mommy. I have seen bits and pieces of Goodnight Mommy and Martyrs.
Oh, I really like Martyrs.
And I forgot The Lighthouse. 2019.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson jerking it to a big lamp. Woo!
I remember once seeing a slowed down close up clip of Marrow getting his head chopped. I was I guess if you do slow it down, you might see something happen, but there is so much because he was in water. So like when the helicopter comes down, there's a splash of water. It's like there's so much happening that covers it. But there's a book called Fly by Night, I think is what it's called. I definitely want to check it out because it's the whole story of what happened with that.
Ooh.
I love the Treehouse of Horror with that gremlin on the wing.
Yeah, we should probably start watching those.
I mean, it has been parodied so much. There's even like, what is it? In Ace Ventura 1 or 2, I think. Jim Carrey doing a version of it. Sorry, I'm trying to read your name here. I'm not gonna attempt this. I'm just gonna say FH. Thanks for being here, FH. Get Out is the best Blumhouse movie. Nothing tops that. Trying to think. Well, you know what? This technically is a Blumhouse movie. I think Whiplash is the best Blumhouse movie. Whiplash, Jason Blum produced Whiplash, the Damien Chazelle movie. Yeah. So I think that's the best Blumhouse movie. If we're talking horror, Get Out's up there. Yep. Get Out is up there.
Sinister is up there for me.
Get Out's up there. The first one. The first Paranormal Activity's up there for me.
You like The Strangers?
The Strangers is not Blumhouse.
Huh?
Nope. Just regular Universal. But the first Paranormal Activity is. I love some of the Purge movies. The Invisible Man 2020. Really good.
Yeah, we did a whole video on this.
Yeah. Go check it out. And then Oliver, what's going on, Ollie? Hey, Eddie, Haley, hope all is well. It is. What are your thoughts on the new Netflix Terminator anime series coming? I'm open to it, yet I'm not getting my hopes up. Well, I don't know much about it, Oliver.
I thought that was announced like a long time ago.
It's been out there for a little bit. Yeah, the anime series. And apparently Cameron is working on another Terminator script. I don't know what's going on with that. I think everything right now is just sort of in the phase. So
I'm just focused on blue people.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'll see anything Terminator. So whatever they come out with, I'll check it out. But yeah, that's the thoughts on the anime series. I'll check it out. I meant horror wise. Oh, okay, horror wise. Yeah, definitely horror wise. But Whiplash is, and a lot of people forget that that's. I don't think it has the opening with the card of Blumhouse, but it's technically a Blumhouse movie because Jason Blum's on there.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Ben is saying Invisible Man is Blumhouse, eh? It is. It's a Blumhouse.
Are you sure The Strangers is not Blumhouse?
You can check. You have a phone in front of you.
No, I knew when I do that.
And then what do we have here? When I saw Get Out the first time, I thought it was from A24 for some reason. Well, because it is so highbrow. It's so...
Yeah, it's actually like competent.
Yeah, so that's probably why. So she's going to look up that Invisible Man is definitely Blumhouse.
I was looking at The Strangers.
Oh, sorry, The Strangers. It's not Blumhouse. But yeah. All right, moving on.
Film became a sleeper hit. What does that even mean? Forget it.
Not a lot of people saw it. Oh. Next up, we watched
Immaculate.
Sydney Sweeney's newest film, Immaculate. Finally, she's done something that shows that she actually has some talent.
Yeah, but I still can't stand her voice. Man, I can't like.
Now I know people are going to say, "What about Euphoria? What about?" We haven't seen that stuff. We've only seen Anyone But You, Madam Web, and now Immaculate. So out of those three, Immaculate's the best.
Oh yeah. Look, I kind of have this weird affinity for like religion-based horror.
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just my Roman Catholic upbringing coming to haunt me. But I was almost nervy that this and the First Omen, granted, First Omen hasn't come out yet, or maybe it has and we just haven't seen it yet. And like we're gonna be just the same copy paste movie. I was pleasantly surprised when I was thrown off.
Mhm.
I'll just say that because it's still too new for me to really dive into anything. And I jive with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I jived with it too.
Yeah, it's very creepy. Well, because like growing up Catholic, I can say this, but the whole idea of nuns kind of freaked me out. Cuz it really is like sort of it's very culty if you think about it a little hard cuz it's like, you know, you're devoting your life to God. Like the whole ceremony to become a true nun is like a marriage ceremony. And it's funny to see Sydney Sweeney dressed as a nun, especially after seeing Anyone But You and her hands down Gwen Powell's pants, but whatever. And this photo right here, like with her being dressed as the Virgin Mary, uh, mwah, she is mother.
Yeah. The ending that's what everyone loves to talk about because the ending is like a one take kind of thing,
Yeah,
which is what the poster you're looking at right now.
yeah.
Great stuff. I would rewatch this movie.
Oh yeah,
I would rewatch it.
Oh yeah. And I'm so afraid to say anything because it's still very new.
Yeah, it's very new. If you're on the fence about seeing it, we definitely recommend it. Go check it out.
We'll see the Virgin Mary.
Even if you think Sydney Sweeney is really nothing special, isn't
Yeah.
anything special, she's pretty special in this movie. So, and this apparently was like a passion project for her. So that's awesome to hear that it actually finally happened. So check that one out.
Ending chef kiss.
Next up, this was a highly sought after movie on your part.
Mm-hmm.
This is Late Night with the Devil.
All right, gang. I'm gonna be controversial. So this movie is getting review bombed to smithereens. I guess I should say to ashes in reference to the poster. Because of AI. Woo. So for those who don't know, this movie is sort of like it's pseudo found footage ish. So you have the majority of the movie, which is like this fake late night talk show a la Letterman with this guy right here. And it's their Halloween episode that somebody found, dug up. And then the other half is sort of like behind the scenes, like what you didn't see. But it's all presented like almost like a documentary. It it's neat. It's interesting. It's different. I was almost like the way it opened when it was saying like this late night show. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't real, is it? Like I had to second guess it. I was like, wait a minute, no, this is no, not real. But in the presentation of the late night show, transitioning between uh the found footage of the show, the broadcast itself, and going to, the breaks, the cuts, there are these insert cards that are AI generated. Um and people are bombing it to nothing because of the fact that they are featured pretty, I wouldn't say prominently, but they pop up quite a few times because you know how many commercial breaks there are during a regular show. Um, and it's like, boo, you should have gotten a real person to do this, whatever. I didn't know they were AI generated. Maybe that's, I'm a part of the problem. And I don't condone the usage of AI. You know, yes, get real, tangible human people to make your things, and
Well,
could it,
especially because it's kind of like what you're going to school for.
Low key. That's more graphic design. I don't do graphic design.
Well, it's in the same family.
Yes.
kind of thing.
But so this is coming from me, an art student. I'm saying shut up about like bombing this movie for that purpose. Cuz look, this movie was filmed sort of, pre blow up of the AI stuff. So,
That's what the filmmakers have argued. They said we made this in 2022. This is before all the AI creepy, crappy stuff came out.
and it's pretty low budget, and there are definitely some places where it shows, like in the CGI, it shows
The vomiting.
the
Yeah, that was
vomiting.
very CGI looking.
The end where it's like that face coming out of the static
Mhm.
shows. And look, okay, do I approve of cutting corners and taking artists out of work, whatever? No. But if you are a low budget film and you want to save some money already, like who knows like how many hands were on deck for this, and if it's not many, then whatever. If you want to save some money, uh, put some use toward AI, because I do think AI could be used for good things. I do think it could, because we are progressing as a society, and I'm not opposed entirely of AI, and that's coming from an art student. Okay, if it I want it to be an aid to help rather than a replacement to hinder. Uh, if it, you could save money. Look,
Live better.
right. If we can avoid like hiring somebody to do these, and we could put our money towards something else, whether that's for a better actor or for better set, because look, the makeup was great. The aesthetic was very convincing. If we're putting it towards something better, then by all means. AI should be used to help your creative process rather than completely take it over, because there is still a lot of human elements in this movie. So when you go to Letterboxd and you see everybody giving it 1 star because of these title cards, I can't hop on that bandwagon, because the product itself, as it in its entirety, is too good. It's too good for me. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed every aspect of this movie. I think the main actor, I forget his name in real life, I thought he was great.
Mhm.
So, if it meant that they had to, cut a bit of corners and not hire a graphic designer, unfortunately, put somebody out of that job so that they could spend a little more money getting this actor, okay, whatever. Now, if this was a bigger studio with a bigger budget doing it, then I'd be a little more criticizing.
Yeah.
But
See, so I reckon that this is a similar kind of thing that happened when CGI was becoming
right.
dominant in filmmaking. People were talking about, oh, I'm out of the job and everything. And I think the CGI versus AI, CGI is something that we've been okay with, that we as an audience know when most often we know when we're looking at something that's CGI, because it's
Yeah.
still not incredibly perfected to the point where we just cannot tell. I think someone that is mostly opposed to AI, is the fact of what, and I wrote it in my review here, you said it as we left, I didn't even know. And I think that when you don't even know, and unless the people that make this movie tell you, right, hey, there is AI in my movie, if that is not public knowledge, how do you know? And then that's scary to me. That's scary when you don't know, you have no knowledge, and boom, here it is. And what does that mean going forward? And how do you, we've had discussions on this. How do you, when it starts to get used, because it will be, when it starts to get used for bad stuff, how do you verify that it is AI and not the real thing? How do you verify that? I don't know how you verify that stuff. So right now, audiences are at the uh, um, discretion of the people making these movies telling us, or insiders telling us, hey, the movie you're going to see, Late Night with the Devil, it has AI involved, just so you know. But they don't have to do that. Like, I don't think they have to do that with everything. And that's the scary part.
And there might be something, because it's AI is still pretty primitive, and when I say AI, like That's still
But you go on, there's like, if you go on the Wikipedia page for AI, like images, it has an example of a thing that apparently was put into a prompter, like 1960s cow being abducted on a farm by a UFO or something like that. And the AI made that thing, which looks like something Van Gogh would have made.
yeah.
That's scary.
But I'm
That's
saying
totally scary.
like AI in itself, like when we just say that, that's so umbrella because AI dates back like all the way to I mean HAL in 2001. We're going back to 2001. So like
But that was fiction.
I know, even so, I'm just saying like the idea of like having an artificial intelligence speaking, doing things for like
Yeah, it's always been a fiction. Now it's becoming more and more less fictiony. And these title cards that you're talking about here, they look like there was nothing about them that was like, ooh, this doesn't look real. This doesn't look, something's off about this. I totally just, it happened. I looked at it. I said, wow, that's great. Maybe in the back of my head, I went, man, great artist that made those. And then you realize, nope, sorry, bud. That all they did was they typed in "Happy Halloween" from us at the Late Show, and that was it.
yeah,
That's
look,
scary.
like
That's really scary.
as somebody in the art world and moving forward like technologically, we have to learn that like much like computers and like how you said CGI, we have to evolve and adapt because there's no getting rid of it, unfortunately. And how it will be integrated into future art projects, who's to say? I just think we have to be aware of it and like use it for good. Like I said, like if it's used to help your artistic process, then great. Like it shouldn't be taking over the entirety of it. Like we shouldn't be using it to make shit like that's not real. Like how there were the scam ads on YouTube with Joe Rogan's voice or Joe Biden's voice saying like you can claim your money now. Like that's not cool. Um there's a lot of things that are not cool when it comes to AI, but like I said, it just comes with us evolving as a society. We just have to learn how to hone it like for good. And I don't think like it'll be taking many people like out of the jobs. I think that's sort of like an overstep. Like I, hmm. We just have to be careful and going and outright like review bombing this movie just because like it wasn't even something substantial, right? Like if it was like a whole scene like that the actors weren't real, that the things that they said weren't real, it was just title cards at the end of the day. Like it was just like they were on the screen for all of like 3 seconds at a time. Yeah, they were kind of like I said, prominent in the way that like, all right, every commercial break you saw it. But it was I don't know. It
I don't know.
it's kind of hard. Like it's kind of hard. But I adore this movie. I adore it greatly. I just think that people are being a little too harsh on it for
Well, that's the thing with Letterboxd. You have the people that are just outright, nope, screw it. Other than what I spoke for, this is a great movie. I don't like the behind the scenes stuff. I don't like the
no.
black and white stuff because um, if it is, and we watched Double Toasted's review on Late Night, and they brought up great points where if it is a documentary being like found footage kind of thing, it makes zero sense. And then the one of the Martin, one of the hosts of Double Toasted, was like, "No, I think that they were just that's us, like what we see in color. That's the found footage, and then the black and white is like that's just for the movie. Like that's not found footage. That's just what happened, and we're getting to see it because it's a movie, kind of deal, you know." So, yeah, it's a solid film.
Yeah, I think it's very creative. Like it was just so refreshing.
Mhm.
something different.
Yeah. And there are creepy elements to it. So it's definitely probably the best thing horror wise that's come out all year long.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so if the AI was used and I thought the movie in its entirety was terrible and the AI definitely didn't help it, I think I'd be a little more focused on this is why AI isn't good, you know? But because the movie in its entirety was so different, so unique, like, because the exorcism genre has been done to the nth degree, you know? So it's like, what different can we do? And you present to me this, like, I mean, you know, applause. Finally, some good fucking food. Gordon Ramsay quote.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be picking this up on physical when it comes out. I think even you said you want it.
Yeah,
so.
I do.
All right. Next up, maybe the most controversial thing we watched I think this is the last thing we watched. Let me make sure. Yep. So this is our last thing we're going to talk about tonight.
Ending with a bang.
Literally ending with quite a controversial subject here. Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. Not a movie. This is a 4-part, about to be 5-part docu-series that is we watched it on Max, I believe, is where we watched it. But it's imaginary or like imagination, Discovery Imagination, something like that is the people that produced it, I think. So this, if you don't know what it's about 90s and early 2000s Nickelodeon specifically, although Disney Channel is mentioned from time to time, and the dark stuff that went on the sets of like All That, The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, yada yada yada, Keenan and Kel. Although Keenan and Kel didn't get a whole lot of coverage because I guess they all had a great time. So right out of the gate, the people that are the bad people, because there's 3 dudes specifically highlighted in this docuseries. 2 of them are really bad people that did awful things, genuinely terrible, undefendable things. So we're not talking about those guys. We're going to focus on Dan Schneider, who everybody wants to just put in the ground and say he's a horrible person. He gets no voice whatsoever. Stick him in the ground, put him there. You look at reviews on Letterboxd, that's half of what they are. So for me, this is a 2.5 out of 5-star documentary because it is literally one-sided. And what's funny is last night, Mikey, who we have frequently here on our channel, one of our favorite people. Yeah, he has his own playlist. I called Mikey just to talk to him, because that's what people do, who aren't AI, though. They call other friends, and we were just talking, and then I was like, well, I watched Quiet on Set. Have you seen it? He had seen it, and then literally for the next hour we talked about Quiet on Set. It's a lot you could talk about, so I don't want to go over all of it again but what I will say is I am on both people's sides. I'm on the victim side and I am on Dan Schneider's side. And that could sound bad just if you were to audio clip that. But if you don't audio clip that, what actually happens in the documentary, what doesn't happen in the documentary, what the documentary shows in the 4 parts is not worthy, in my opinion, is not truly worthy of Dan Schneider being canceled, being told that he should be put into the ground, that he should get hit by a car, this. The guy is not even in the documentary. As far as I know, whoever made this documentary didn't even try to reach out to him to get him on, because when you watch documentaries and they try to get people on and they can't, typically a card will come up that's not AI generated, and it will say something along the lines of, we reached out to so-and-so for a comment, they denied to comment. That was never present, as far as I'm aware. That was never present in this documentary. What they did have is they had little blurbs, little black screens with white text that would pop up and say, Dan Schneider says such and such. And then it would just move on. So I gave it 2.5 stars because it's an important documentary. It talks about things, especially with Drake Bell. That's the big that's the meat of this whole thing. That's their selling point. I'm surprised he's not on the poster. So that's incredibly important. So that's why it's 2.5 stars. But what it gets wrong, in my opinion, is not even giving Dan Schneider a chance to not even defend himself, just to say, what, because then, and I included it here in my review right here, this link right here to YouTube, that will take you over to Dan Schneider's apology video, because I think it's important to at least hear what the guy has to say. When I was talking to Mikey last night, I said something along the lines of, look, some people say Dan Schneider doesn't even deserve a side of the story. He just deserves to be canceled and leave him alone. And I disagree, because if somebody can go out into the public, right, can go out to a mall, gun down 20 people, get arrested by the police, and appear in court and speak and tell us why they did that, I think Dan Schneider can talk too. I think he can talk, because a lot of this documentary is hearsay. I'm sorry to say, it's a lot of hearsay. It's a lot of, oh, we didn't like this. He said that. He did this. There's not undisputable AI, not involved evidence. There isn't. There's some stuff that is hardcore evidence. Yes, absolutely. The majority of this is like hearsay. It really is. So for me, I enjoyed watching it, but to a degree. I thought it was leading up to, I thought the fourth part was going to be, all right, so these are all the accusations. Here's the man of the hour, Dan Schneider. I thought that's what it was going to be, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Like, what's undisputable for me is the way that the kids felt at the time. Like the actors who came forward and saying like, this made me feel terrible. Like what, like I felt vulnerable, I felt targeted, I felt unsafe. That's undisputable. Like there's no writing that come forward to, you know, make that any more or less true. It's how they felt.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
it comes down to like where, and if that was Dan Schneider's intent, was to be predatory or whatever, like that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, it's ultimately like how it made the kids feel.
Well, a lot of what is against
Well,
him
I'm
is
not
not
done.
even
I'm not done.
predatory, though. I don't think it's more of a toxic work environment is what he's being accused of, making people feel unsafe in terms of, I can't even come to you and say I'm not comfortable doing this. I don't know. That's predatory.
Yeah. Well, I'm not done. Like what I'm saying is ultimately like to no discredit of, the kid actors, now adult, coming forward and saying, "This is how I felt." And, like, that's concrete. That is what it is. And if they're lying for some unknown reason about that, shame on them. They'll get their karma. But what Dan could come forward with, like, the stuff that makes me sort of raise an eyebrow are like the things behind the scenes, like the writer's room, like stuff like that. Like you can tell sometimes, like, I mean, you could see on the screen, like some scenes that are a little, that was on air. And you make a point too, like, I can't only be Dan Schneider who pulls the strings about that. He's just the one who's the most prominent. That's the name who we know the most. Like he got the Kids Choice Award, it's lifetime achievement or something. So it's like we just happen to know your name the most, so of course you're gonna get the blame.
Which is unfair.
Yeah. So like the scenes where we see uh like the victorious scenes with all the like everything you see with feet, uh everything you see like that makes kids in tight clothes, kids in like weird situations like in the
Getting
dares.
stuff squirted on their
Yeah,
faces.
so like um innuendo type shit, like I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying it should be like regardless of the intent, like regardless of if Dan found that funny, found that like if he for some reason didn't see the innuendo in like the sexual nature behind it, I still think it's important to hold him accountable or and anybody else for not seeing the weirdness of it. Like the infamous scene of Amanda Bynes in the pool or the hot tub, her in a bathing suit, him fully clothed, and him saying, like, I'm the one who pulls strings, I'm the producer, like, I can cancel your show if I want. Like, one can argue it's like, well, he's fully clothed, is a grown man, like, but it's the fact that it can be seen, like, the fact that it even can be seen as odd or weird or like that's what we should be holding accountable for. Like we should be like and I understand it was a different time back then, like the way like you can't make stuff back then like today and for better. Like I think that we should just be like I said earlier, you know, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. So I think we should be holding people accountable regardless of intent, okay? Like cuz I think everybody likes to point fingers saying that, like why he's being grouped with those two other god awful people is because people are so focused on intent. Like he wanted those kids to feel vulnerable. Like he wanted them to be displayed like that, like stuff like that. Maybe maybe he really didn't think two thoughts about it. And he was like, no, I really just think that's funny. Like I really just think that would make for a good skit. And it's that ignorance that ultimately at the end of the day, it wasn't cool. It wasn't, like this actually isn't right to do. That ignorance we should be teaching. That ignorance we should be holding him accountable for. Um, how like and we don't know how he was on set. Was he approachable? Like was he scary? Was he a nice guy? Who's to say? But now where we got him, we should be saying, take responsibility for your actions that you ultimately did do this, you know? It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's not about what you do, it's about how you do it.
Which, whether or not you agree with the apology video or believe the apology video, it's out there. He did it, but he didn't get a chance to do it in this thing right here. He didn't get a chance to do it in this thing, which unfortunately, most people will watch only this and that's it. They'll watch this and he's done. And he is done. And I just think that that's not fair. I think you have to do more research beyond this because this is not a complete story. The complete story is not involved here. It's just not. And so most people will watch Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. They might tune back in for episode 5, but most people did 4 episodes and they're like, "Cool. I know now. I know the story. Dan Schneider, screw that guy. Cool. All right, let's go back to work." And that's just what?
Yeah.
That's not fair. Like that's just not fair. And I approach this thinking it wouldn't happen because I know who I am, but I would imagine if something like anything like cancel culture ever came my way, I would want some people to think, maybe I should do more research than watch just a thing, a hit piece on the person and call it a day.
Yeah, ultimately, I think, and why I sort of putting his apology on a lower scale is because you have 5 parts. Great. This is like 3 hours worth, like 3, maybe 4 hours worth of stories, of allegations, of comments, of concerns toward this person. And then you have a whole 18 minutes, not even breaking the 20-minute mark. And it's pretty like there's no real depth to the apology. Like 18 minutes worth of him saying, "Yep, all right, yep, I see what you're saying. Um, all right, yep, that kind of sucks. I really hate that."
Mhm.
So it's really unbalanced. It's like if you really want to show me that you care, don't sit there for 4 hours. I don't expect you to do that, but at least maybe like go a little in depth. Like, why are you like if like why all the feet things with the kids? Like, whether you thought it was funny, at the end of the day, people see it as you putting your sexual fantasies onto a vulnerable demographic of people that don't really know any better. Um, that's not cool. I don't think you should just brush that off as saying like, "No, that was wrong with me. Next." Like, it just comes off as very disingenuous, as very like you potential like what you did, regardless of the intent, traumatized some people for potentially the rest of their lives. And for you to just talk to my guy Tebow and say, "No, yeah, that was wrong. What else are you hitting me for?" Like, bring it on, like, hit me with the gauntlet. I'm gonna say, "Yep, that wasn't cool. All right, I'll just rework my shit and cut it." It just comes off as very, like, not like I wanted to do this, but I have to do this. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm not like, I don't like using the word cancel. It's just I'm going to view them now in a different light. Like, I'm not gonna stop watching Drake and Josh. I'm not gonna stop watching iCarly.
Well, I don't think you ever viewed Dan Schneider as like
Uh,
anything other than right. Like,
it's the feet thing.
yeah, like I don't think anyone ever really viewed him like, oh my god, maybe back in early 2000s when the Lifetime stuff happened.
um, yeah,
But
when, like, Amanda Bynes started her downfall, fingers were pointed at Dan Schneider for being, like, the cause of it. I
mm.
remember that. Um, and then I read Jeanette McCurdy's book, so there was that. Yes, I did read Jeanette McCurdy's book cover to cover, and, like, I believe it. Like, I don't discredit anybody who's saying, like, if somebody made you feel that way, I'm going to believe you, regardless of if they intended to make you feel that way or not. I'm going to believe you. Like,
But then you do have to look at the intent because people feel the way they feel. We're probably offending someone right now. We don't know. Like
but,
our
like,
intent is not to offend you, but
but
you're getting offended. It seems like rock music's getting offended. And he says, I'm joking, but it seems like, it's, I'm sorry. I don't know. I
like,
just have microphones here, but you're thinking they're sexual innuendos. I'm sorry. I don't know. They're just microphones.
well, I'm just saying, like, I don't view Dan Schneider highly, and I don't think anybody should because I think a grown man at the end of the day should know better and, like, especially when you work with children. It's like even when cuz we can like we work at Starbucks, we can have minors working because that's legal. Like, you can have 16-year-olds, you can have 15-year-olds working at Starbucks. And
Aaron. He's like, let me break the ice here. Whew. It's getting a
I'm
little hot in
I'm
here.
saying, like, you can have like and I watch over them like a hawk because, some
Well, because you have to.
you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you should always feel that way because they're children.
Right.
They're vulnerable. They don't know much better, even though like they haven't been on this earth for as long as you have. You should be the bigger person to know like what to do, how to do it, what have you.
Right.
So, Dan Schneider, you're not really cool in my book.
But was he ever really cool in your book?
Not really.
I
Um,
mean, at the end of the day, all he made was a couple kids shows that like most of us enjoyed watching, but
uh,
like we're not holding
like
them to the levels of like The Walking Dead or
no. And to my knowledge, he's not even hands-on anymore. So
I
these
don't know what he's doing
these
now.
new people at or not Disney, these new people at Nickelodeon, hopefully
Hopefully
know
it's
better.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it's
So
different.
like like I keep saying, we should know our history.
Mhm.
We shouldn't forget it. But let's do better in the future.
Yeah. So that's our piece on Quiet on Set. It is controversial, but regardless of how I feel ultimately about the piece as a whole, I do recommend checking it out. And having said that, that wraps up March for us. So something we did forget to do in our February stream is, per usual, every stream at the end of it, we give our one title recommendation. Don't worry, I'll go back. Our one title recommendation that we recommend out of everything we watched. We like to give you one recommendation to check out. So we forgot to do that for February. So we're going to do February and March before we get to the comments, the final comments. So let's go to the diary of Eddie Green, not Anne Frank, and see what we watched again in February, because we did watch a lot. So take a peek. This is everything we watched in February. So right now we're giving our February 2024 recommendation. Let's see here. Okay, all right. Ooh, good. Okay, good. Ooh, yeah, good. Yep. Okay. Do you want me to go first or you?
Go ahead.
So I'll wait till you're done scrolling. Good?
Yeah,
all right. So I think the obvious one, I'm not going to do the obvious one. The obvious one's Terminator 2. I'm not going to do that. That's the obvious one. Check out Terminator 2. So if I have to exclude that one, I think just because it's the only one other than T2 I gave 5 stars, I'm going with 10 Things I Hate About You.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm going 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Although if you need a new one, you need a new release, Land of Bad, I really enjoyed. That's why it's not 5 stars. It's 4.5. That I had no expectations for. Kind of really blew me away. But I had I had some expectations for 10 Things I Hate About You, because everyone talks about it very highly, and it matched.
From the best year in movies.
It's from 99, one of the best years in film. So definitely check that out if you have never seen 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, as somebody who's a notorious rom-com hater,
you loved it.
I loved it.
Yep. And it's cool to see something other than Dark Knight when it comes to Heath Ledger. So 10 Things I Hate About You is both of our recommendation for February. And this month, let's take a peek. Okay. All right.
I mean, I know mine.
I think I know yours. Late Night with the Devil. Hers is Late Night with the Devil. And if I'm going off of stars, I gave only 4 stars for every film. So if I'm going out of those, I'm going to go The Apartment.
The Apartment.
I'm going The Apartment.
Yeah, something old, something new.
The Apartment is my recommendation. But if you're a Cameron fan, like I am, don't discredit Xenogenesis. So that is every film we watched in March. Let's head back over, wrap this up here. Make sure we're full screen. Cool. All right, let's wrap it up here, and then we're going to get the heck out of here. Let's see. Okay. Rock Music says, isn't the new Strangers trilogy Blumhouse?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe? That one I don't know. I just know the first and the second are not Blumhouse. So, and then he says, never mind, it isn't.
Oh.
Ollie says, glad things are well. I'm doing okay. Just crafting out my projects and my scripts. Yes, I know you write a lot of stuff, man. Have you seen a cult 84 classic, Savage Streets with Linda Blair? It's brutal in parts, yet it's solid. Have you seen Savage Street? No. I have not even heard of that. I know who Linda Blair is, obviously, but never heard of that one. 1984, great year, man. Great man. Laren, you made it.
Hello.
You did make it. How was your meeting? I do think AI is pretty scary. If I had to err on one side, I'm going more scary than cool.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely more scary. AI is horrifying. I'm counting down the day to a bunch of T800s start taking over. I'm only half joking. I don't know that it'll be that.
Maybe I'm just saying nice things about the AI so that they don't kill me.
They go easy on you. I like what Cameron said back when he was being interviewed about Terminator Dark Fate coming out. the interviewer asked him, "Do you think it's going to happen like that?" And I love how Cameron said this. He said, "Oh, I don't know that it's going to necessarily be that dramatic. And I think it's going to, because like in the movies, right, especially in T3 and everything else, we see it happen. We see the rise. We see the takeover. We see." And I love that Cameron said, "I think it's going to happen off screen to us. We're not going to see it. It's just going to happen, and we're not going to see it. And then it's just going to happen. It's going to be here." So I love that he said that it's going to happen off screen to us. We're not going to see it.
Well, that's fucking scary.
Yeah. Well, there might be 5 people, if it's in a room, right, with a bunch of computers. That's how it's presented in Terminator 3. Everything just starts going haywire. So everyone in that room saw it happen, but the majority of people, 99.9% of the population, it's going to happen off screen. But yeah, I don't know that'll be that dramatic. Maybe one of the movies that got it the most accurate is iRobot, something like that. Have you seen iRobot?
No, Will Smith.
With Will Smith, yeah, with like a murder that happens, and people are blaming this robot. So, what pisses me off are the AI celebrity fraud scamming situations going on everywhere. Well, and again, how do you verify? How do you validate? Like that's the scary thing. And once it gets beyond because there's still that, what's it called, the
margin of error.
Well, like the
uncanny valley.
Uncanny valley, right? When you hear the voices, you can still like, oh, this sounds fakey, But once it gets past that, because it will, how do you verify it, man? And then like, man, people are screwed. People are high profile people. You're screwed. You're screwed. So at this point, it's like anyone aiming, like if you have a dream to be the next Taylor Swift, you might want to crush that dream because it ain't pretty. So damn, this stream was short. Yeah, well, it was a short month for us. We kept it short and sweet.
We've been building a lot of Legos.
We have, yeah. She got me addicted to Legos. So now I build Legos a lot. I've been building a lot of the Avatar Legos. There's already 2 on our shelves. So, but yeah, Legos are awesome. I don't know why I just realized that. Quiet on set was disturbing. It was disturbing. Yeah, absolutely. And not saying any of the stuff is not disturbing, emotional, heartfelt, sad. It is. It all is. But a lot of it's also hearsay. Eddie and Haley are going to get canceled. Yeah, that's why we left. You never know. Someone might cancel us because of these microphones, and they're pointed at our mouths.
Let them try.
But we're of age, so I don't know what you can cancel us for there.
Well, actually, they think that I'm a minor and that you're like pedo.
Right, but you're over 20, so. My sister has read Jeanette McCurdy's book too.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah.
Because it goes into more than just the creator, as she calls him.
Right. I'm going Drake and Josh.
Yeah. But I mean, Drake was involved in the iCarly theme song.
Yeah. They're both great. I'm just a bigger fan of Drake and Josh, so I'm going to pick the theme song for Drake and Josh. Tiana, thank you for being here, Tiana.
Hello.
Thank you. You caught the tail end. Yep, rock music because Drake and Josh, Laren. All right. Nadia, looks like I made it to the tail end. Gosh darn it, start over. Yeah, well, you're right, you're on the road back from Las Vegas. So yeah, looks like you had a great time there. I was last time I visited Vegas.
Weren't you like 3
years ago, man? I had to be like,
you weren't 21.
I had to be 18, 19, somewhere in that ballpark. So when you were in Vegas and you were on the streets, Nadia, assuming you're still with us, when you were walking down the sidewalks, did you get like constantly bombarded from people like clicking paper on their hands and trying to hand it to you? Did that happen? Like you're walking and some rando like guy that looks like a garbage man. Just
why?
Because that's them trying to hand you a prostitute number. I don't know if they cleaned that up, if they got rid of that in Vegas, but when I was in Vegas, the time I visited, and think about it, I'm like barely legal. There's just dudes doing this, trying to hand me prostitute numbers. Isn't that crazy?
Why don't you take them up on
that crazy? Did you just hear what I said? You're going to get canceled. Cancel her.
You said you were 18
Cancel
or 19.
Cancel her.
You said you were 18
I think I said barely. So I just got home. No fair. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like that's like the classic. Is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? So just is it better to have gone on the vacation than never to have gone on the vacation? Because now you're losing, right? So now you're back home, you're back to the real world, you're not on vacation. Life sucks again. So is it like, were you better off not even going to Vegas because you didn't know what it was like? I don't know. I don't know.
Want to go to Vegas?
I don't know. I'm thinking about that with Halloween Horror Nights. I'm thinking, but we have experience with that. I'm thinking about Laren because that's going to be such a high, Laren. That is going to be such a high, dude, when we're in Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights, Joker 2. And then you're going to fly back. And it's like,
After he's seen people for the first time.
And then it's almost like you think to yourself, I was probably better off just not even going. But then you don't have that experience. You know what I mean? It sucks. Life sucks.
Life sucks.
Anyways, Tony, I was wondering where the hell you were. What the hell, dude? Looks like I caught the tail end. You sure did, dude. But thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. The meeting went well. I'm really glad you went live this month. Thanks, FOS, and see you soon. Yes, thank you for saying that. So I'm going to pull this off real quick. What do we got here? So I don't have the banner for it, but in case anyone hasn't checked it out yet and wants to, it is on the channel. A few days or maybe a week or two. I don't know what the time is anymore, but went live with Dave Durant Cinema covering the Aliens, Abyss, and True Lies 4Ks. So if you want to check that out and you missed it, it is on the channel. Check it out. Very fun stream to do and pretty bomb-ass thumbnail if I do say so myself. And then I don't have the thumbnail for it, but Laren's talking about seeing us again in the future. Don't know when we'll be back on the channel, but I do know April 18th. Mark your calendars. April 18th. Rotten Tomatoes, the card game, round 3. Coming back, baby. We're trying to find our third contestant for the finals. So April 18th. And then we decided to add a bonus round for May, and it's going to be called Rotten Redemption. And that's going to basically be 4 players that have lost previous rounds. They're going to be coming back, and we're going to try to find our 4th and final contestant for the finals of Rotten Tomatoes, the card game. And the finals will happen in June. So April is round 3, May, Rotten Redemption, June, the finals. So very fun. Look forward to it. Nadia, you're going to be coming back for Rotten Redemption. Dave Durant Cinema is going to be coming back. Josh Mousetracks is going to be coming back. And Mikey is going to be coming back. So
nobody from this next round?
Nobody from this next round. So whoever loses in round 3, if you lose, you lose.
You're toast.
So there it is. What do we got here? Yes, the clicking things. I never understood why they did it. So it still happens. It still goes on. Lots of half-naked chicks and fentanyl junkies. Fentanyl junkies. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Vegas is literally a world of its own. It's literally a world of its own. So, but that's crazy. They still do the clicking thing, and you just have to keep walking. Crazy. Life sucks again. Losers Club reunite. Yes, you will be given one more chance. You're really the inspiration because I think even during it you said something like I'll battle you again, Dave. And then I was like,
battle you again.
Let's make that happen. That's drama.
T.
And yeah, I guess I'll be at your Rotten Tomatoes card game, maybe. All right.
If you feel like it.
If you feel like it, if you can fit us into your schedule, Oscar, that'd be awesome. But everybody, that's it. We're at the end. Thank you for being here. If you watched the whole thing, if you caught the tail end,
boo.
Well, no. Just watching us. Thank you so much. It means a lot. You could watch a lot of things in life. You're probably multitasking, watching a bunch of other things. But thank you for even having us on as background noise. It means a lot.
While you're building your Legos.
So we'll be back. Like I said, I don't know when in April, except April 18th for Rotten Tomatoes 3. But we may be back with a video in between there. We've taken a little bit of a pause on those things, so maybe get back into them. But definitely we'll be back on the 18th. So until then, thanks for hanging out with us. You're all awesome. Don't get canceled. And until next time, keep being fans. of something. I don't know, Oliver. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about.